had a sort of extended set list at that point of songs we were going to try, which we talked about, and we, you know, even before we got to that first thing, there's one or two we decided not to do, and we decided, you know, but then we came into the studio, we still probably had about 4 hours of material that we were actually started rehearsing.
Tony's been doing film scores and stuff, so we're all very active.
Did I mention my solo projects?
Tony's solo album was very good as well.
Tony? That name rings a bell. Tony? Yeah, I think he plays sax. No, cello.
I mean, the reason I'm in this business in the first place is as a writer, and I never had any great urge to be a performer on stage and to kind of get everyone to look at me or anything like that. And as a musician, as a player, I never sort of felt this was something I did that much better than anybody else. It was always as a writer that I felt this is what I felt that I had something special at. I think Home by the Sea has always been one of my favourite songs. I mean, Domino and Home by the Sea are the ones, key songs in the set for me in many ways. The most difficult song, I think, for this show is the same as the last show, which is Domino. Just even the first half of the song, I'm probably doing about eight or nine different sounds. And in the second half as well, you've really got to keep your head because it's, you know, things are just happening all the time, and I've got to keep this thing vamping in the bass all the time while I'm doing all sorts of other things with my right hand. And as though technically, it's not like there's speed problems or anything like that. It is just quite difficult to make certain you keep your head and you do all the things in the right order, you know. If you do one tone change in the wrong order, then everything comes up wrong. Domino is a great image to put on a screen. It just looks great, you know. Biggest dominoes you've ever seen. We decided right from the word go that we weren't going to use it just as a video assist because I think that's been seen a lot of times. It's exciting and it's good to do, but we wanted to try and integrate it more with the band. I mean, it is a problem with these things that you end up either looking at the screen or at the band. The last 2 weeks, Mike and I in particular have been concentrating very heavily on the visual side of it. And, you know, first run through we did in the big place, we suddenly realised all the things that were wrong about it.
Yeah.
I've always seen this as just crossfades. He says,
well, that's what I had.
and then just sort of floats
However,
across. No,
Matthew felt it should be cut.
Yeah, I don't think it should be cut. I talked to Elizabeth before. I don't think it should be cut.
Well, what do we want to do? Should we make an executive decision here?
Yeah, I think it should be dissolved. Right.
And we arrived over here the first day, and they had all these banks of computers and laser discs, and none of it worked, and they got the wrong system completely. As usual, wires get crossed. No one quite knew what we wanted to do.
So it's that
it's just one. It's just one.
But it's one button.
One
yeah.
button.
Oh yeah, it's one button.
Assuming the one button works, and assuming the person operating it can count.
Press it in time.
Press it at the right time. Then we're okay.
Yeah.
That's all it takes. So there is a nerve about that, nervousness about whether all the stuff will work at the right time. Everyone will sort of, you know, be doing this. We've got a lot of different operators. They've all got to punch buttons at the right moment or put their faders up. And if it doesn't happen, you tend to get a bit sensitive to it, particularly the ones you can see. You know, there's some songs where you can actually watch the screens a bit and you know if it's going wrong. I think people like the funny ones best of all, which is the ones I like the best. I don't know, if you can capture the right mood on a more serious one, it works. I thought No Son of Mine, we captured the mood nicely, that was great. It's a difficult thing for us. I mean, you know, particularly Mike and I, we're not actors. I don't think, anyhow. No, we aren't, definitely. Whereas Phil, we are lucky in having Phil, who is good in front of a camera, so we can be just good enough, I think, to back him up. It's an extraordinary piece of TV, really, you know. I mean, certainly the first time I ever saw it, I thought it was a comedy. I'm absolutely serious about that. I thought it was comedy. And it wasn't until I watched the thing for about 5-10 minutes I suddenly realised this wasn't a sketch. This had been going on for too long.
You actually look shorter than me.
I do.
It's quite extraordinary.
By the third day, Tony looked quite normal to me. I mean, I virtually saw no difference when he took the wig off.
You thought it was real, yeah? Good for you.
The thing that makes it difficult is the just sheer size of it, because it's an open-air show only, and we've got the PA much further apart. The basic structure is so big. And the video screens obviously are you're at the forefront of sort of the technology here a bit. You know, had to have a computer program sort of which was kind of written specially to operate them. Anything that's completely new, you know, it's like when we first used the Verilights. There were a lot of problems with them, but it was still very effective even though they didn't work every night. The first show is always the worst because so many things that are unknowns at that point. You don't even know, you haven't got quite the confidence in the set at that point. Equipment can let you down, that sort of thing, and you don't quite know what it's going to be like when you actually do the whole show as one.
I'm Nancy J. with Mike Rutherford and Tony Banks of the band. That's your cue.
Oh, well, you didn't give us a cue. Do it again.
Okay, I'm Nancy J. with Mike Rutherford and Tony Banks of
Genesis.
And we're going to be live on Newswatch 11 in just a moment. The Entertainment Watch, don't go away.
Good evening, North America. J.J. Jackson for the Global Satellite Network. I'm in Texas Stadium and actually in the locker room. Dallas Cowboys play, and but tonight we're in with three rather famous Englishmen. We have the members of Genesis, the core of the band, of course.
Well, there is a lot of interviews to do and stuff. I mean, obviously, you're trying to sort of do interviews, you know, to try and make certain as many people come to the show as possible.
And how small you can look. Even smaller than I really am, in fact. But what really fascinates me is why you've got the volume and the EQ on your voice.
Yeah, we're not very happy.
I'm sitting here wondering that
and
myself.
I sound like a Mr. Wimp. In fact, even all three of us sound like real Mr. Wimps. Whereas JJ's here going, well, good evening. Well, it's a beautiful thing, baby.
We've always made a point of bringing people, I mean, wives and
People,
on the road.
even if the wives couldn't come. Well, sorry, okay. You did let it open, okay.